Satsman.fun is the premier Bitcoin runes launchpad, and it's easy to get started. First, select a runes ticker and etch. Then you'll select that runes ticker and you'll fill out the description, the website, the socials, and you'll also pick the block height that you'd like the mint to start at. Once the mint is complete, all liquidity will be sent to richswap.io and people can start trading right away. Head over to satsman.fun to give it a try today.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to OnChain Revolution. My name is Yagobi. I am your host for the show. And we're going to get back into the Bitcoin ecosystem today. I know Bitcoin's down, but one thing you got to remember is back in 2023, Bitcoin wasn't thriving when the ordinal ecosystem started to take off, right? Bitcoin was in the high 20,000s, low 30,000s. And, you know, this Bitcoin ecosystem economy started to take off. So I think it's important just to kind of get to know some of these projects. And so I'll continually do this, I think, week by week, just to get people familiar with what's going on over here. But yeah, so we're going to cover Ailu, which is a fun project. The founder from the project, I've been on a couple calls with him. He is the founder of Endangered Labs, which is the company that launched Ailu, and they've got a lot of stuff cooking, right? You know, with Ailu, you have IP rights to your ordinal. You can plug it into like their gaming environment. You also have the ability to have your own live avatar. You know, if I wanted to use my Ailu as, you know, my avatar during the show, I could do that. So really cool stuff. And they have a lot of stuff coming. And I'll tell you, you know, the founder is really, really passionate about what he's building with his community here. He really, you know, what he said to me is that he wants everybody to win with him, of course, right? And then we're going to get into a upcoming mint that's happening here, I want to say in the next 16 hours. And it's called Dreamers by someone that is, you know, was a part of the Goosenals people, that group that launched the Goosenals project, right? And so we'll see how that goes. But like everything, do your research on Ailu, on Dreamers, on anything we go over today. And then we'll finish it off with hitting up Magic Eden to see how the Bitcoin ecosystem is doing as Bitcoin's getting throttled right now, sitting at, I believe, 77,000, right? But let's kick things off here with going over Ailu, right? And if you go to endangeredlabs.io, which I'm going to share my screen here, you can see everything about Ailu, really, and Endangered Labs. And it says right here, Endangered Labs is an omniverse studio for sentient beings. United, we will build a network state focused on creator empowerment via interoperable IP and gamified experiences. And I know there's a lot of people that try to use this metaverse narrative and things like that, but these guys really are building a ton, right? I've been, like I said, on multiple calls with them, Meta Panda, which is the founder. And man, I don't know if I've talked to someone as passionate that's an ordinal collection founder as him. He's just really passionate about making this thing work. And, you know, he doesn't care about the price or the sales volume, which I think it's done about $6 million in sales since it launched. But, you know, there's active sales as well. You can go to the Magic Eden page, which we'll visit here in a second. But you go down here and you can see the Ailu project. It says avatar interoperability. With a 3D model, users can interact with each other across many systems and participate in activities and events together in a shared virtual space. Use your characters across social networks, game engines, and virtual worlds. I do know that they're also building for some other virtual worlds in Web3. I don't want to say any names, but just think of big worlds out there that might be on Ethereum. I'll just give those hints because I don't know if they want that to be out yet. And then you can see the avatar identity. You can be your Ailu. So, you know, the streamer, what is it? The peanut guy. I forgot what his name was. Dang it. But he's one of the most popular streamers right now. He has an avatar. So you could technically do that with your Ailu, right? You can do a 3D printed file. I mean, they just really try to, you know, have everything here. There's a 3D rigged model, PNG with background. You can go watch the trailer here as well. Yeah, so pretty cool, right? I mean, it was just kind of like a graphics type of video showing. I don't know. I thought it was cool because I mean, there's a cypherpunk feel to this collection, right? And one of the things is that he said, pandas. No one hates on pandas, right? Like people get sick of dogs and cats. I mean, he's right. I mean, there's so many different dog collections, NFTs and cats as well, but pandas, you don't have too many. Anyhow, you can just kind of go through their website at endangeredlabs.io and check it out, right? And you can see, you can go to the Ailu hub here where you can see all the different versions of Ailus that they have. And then you can go into the docs and check out the docs here as well and just see what they're building, right? This is an art project that's been going on, I think he said 14 years plus. So again, a lot of passion into this. And, they have a lot of releases coming out in terms of, things that they're adding to this, right? So let's go check out Magic Eden, see what it looks like in the Magic Eden marketplace. And you can see here, the activity is pretty recent, 21 hours ago, 5 days, 6 days, 7 days. So, I mean, people are active still with this collection, and you can see all the different versions. And then you can go through and filter yourself to see what is, the most rare traits and all that stuff. But I think it's really cool. And I think the fact that he is still just building consistently with this, right? I don't think the X is super active, but their Discord is. And so if you want to get connected, you can always head over to their Discord, and it is on the Magic Eden side or marketplace there. You can just click on the Discord. You can either go to the website or their X from here as well. So that's Ailu. Wanted to kind of do a quick, overview of Ailu and what they got to offer there. Now let's check out what's going on with this mint. So this is the guy that, hype most people, if you're in the Bitcoin ecosystem, you know who this is. He was a part of the Ordinal support desk, right? He was with that space that would be nonstop. So he is doing, these phases for this mint right now. And so the mint is actually called Dreamers, and it's happening on launchpad.hot. And you can see right here, launchpad.hot, and the Dreamers phase. So if you knew somebody and you can kind of get into these earlier phases, you can get them for cheaper. And eventually the final phase, which is public, which is in 22 hours, goes for 0.0012 Bitcoin. But if you're in these earlier phases, then, that means somebody or you have a alpha group or something, right? But nevertheless, it reminds me of kind of like the Cause art, KAWS. So the thing about Hype is that he does really, in the past, he's done pretty good with his mints. And so this could be an exciting one. It looks like the phase 2 is 111 total. Let's see what it says here. It says, when did we stop dreaming? Bitcoin began as a dream, not a product, not a market, but a belief that something better could exist. A belief carried by a few, doubted, many, ridiculed until it wasn't. Over time, the world learned to price the dream, to trade it, to measure it in charts, but somewhere along the way, dreaming itself was priced out of the conversation. And this is why I love the Bitcoin ecosystem, is because, no matter what, look at this. I mean, this is a mint, right? Yeah, sure. He's going to make money off of this mint, but they keep trying to, get the community, going again, right? And then I just feel like there's a different vibe in the Bitcoin ecosystem. That's why I always loved it, and that's why I'm so glad to be covering it again. But yeah, so this is something that could be interesting. We'll see how it does. The market's obviously really tough right now, but he's obviously rolling it out because he has confidence that he can mint this out. And so we got about, I think, like what it says 17 hours for this first phase, the Dreamers phase. So about 18 hours, and we'll see how it goes. And so Dreamers mint in 17 hours is when it starts. Let's check out the Bitcoin ecosystem in general. We'll check out Ordinals here. All right. So yeah, again, the Ordinals and NFTs and everywhere is getting kind of rocked right now just because the overall market is getting rocked. Bitcoin is struggling right now as well. But let's look at the 7-day. So the past week, you can see like Node Monks down to $1,600. So, Node Monks is one of the collections that I'm very bullish on. They have a very low inscription number. I think they go from, 83,000 to 111,000 inscription number, which is very, very low considering we're in the high. I think we're like, I don't even know what inscription number we're in right now, but high millions. Like I want to say 100 plus million maybe. I don't know if we're at that high. Maybe. Anyways, so very, very low inscription number. Honestly, when these first dropped, they were going for, I want to say like maybe 2,000, 2,200, jumped up to like 4,500. I picked up a couple. They got all the way to like $60,000 per ordinal at one point. And this was in 2024. So February, March, around 2024, March, April maybe. And so I think that, ordinals are the most collectible digital art form, in my opinion. I think they're more collectible than ETH NFTs. Some people will probably argue with me, but I love the fact of how they're inscribed on Satoshis and all these crazy things, right? And you can have the Satoshi numbers on there. But anyways, so you can see Node Monks are down to 1,600 right now. Ordinal Maxi Biz down to 1,000, down 0.4% on the week. And then you got Bitcoin Puppets below 1,000. I mean, if these keep going lower, they're going to be very, very juicy, in my opinion. You do see Runestone down about 8.7%. So they're, $75. So people would want these if they're going to be expecting those airdrops, which Leonidas, still has 2 more tokens to airdrop there. And then you got Quantum Cats here at $911. These were like 17,000. What, like maybe like 7 months ago? Goodness gracious. So, these are on super sell right now. Nat Cats, which the DMT, I love how they do that. They use attributes from blocks that were mined, and they use like a specific attribute and then give a characteristic to an ordinals collection based on those attributes. And so these are at 250. These are actually up 3%. Surprisingly, they're up. And then you got the Moto Racing. I think these are from the OPNet guys. Yeah, and then you go down the line here, and Pizza Ninjas are at 745, up 1.5. So there is some stuff that's up. And you got the Taproot Wizards down here, down 16%. So that's a pretty big drop there. Bitmap, wow, $4, man. That's pretty low. $4.41, down about 2%. Bitcoin Frog sitting at $280. I'm really bullish on the frogs long term as well. So, I mean, like a lot of this stuff, in my opinion, is on super sell. This is my personal opinion. Never financial advice whenever I speak. It's just how I feel. And, I do have a collector's mind, right? So I've collected sports cards growing up. I've collected many things, coins even. And so I feel very strongly that there's going to be a strong collector's market with ordinals in the future. But let's check Bitcoin runes here and see how the runes ecosystem is doing. Runes are going to be taking a hit as well, as almost all fungibles have been hit pretty hard. You can see here, Dog on the 7 days actually up about 4%, almost 4% there, sitting at $108 million market cap. And it's crazy to see this like so close, to 100, and it did get below 100 million. I want to say maybe about like a month ago, maybe a month and a half ago. It got to like 90 million, but it bounced up pretty quick. And then you got Magic Internet Money sitting at 8.37 million and up 2.5% on the week. Uncommon Goods is the one that Casey launched, and the supply is I think it gets cut. It basically stops next halving, right? So there's going to be continuous supply kind of released every block, and then once we get to the next halving, that's it. And so a lot of people are anticipating that once we get closer to that, Bitcoin runes could really do extremely well as we're heading, kind of continually into this bear market. I believe we've been in a bear market for the past couple months, and once things settle down, people start to look for other ways to make money besides staying in Bitcoin or, the blue chips. And I think runes have a big opportunity. And then you see $1 billion cap, which was always one of my favorite, down to 2.3 million. What else do we have here? Pups down to 1.98 million. Pups was never below Billy. That's so crazy that it's below Billy right now. Runes coin, I was never a big fan of it, but it is down about 29% and is sitting at 1.47 million. Yeah, and that's pretty much all the main ones that we've always known, right? You got RadFi here from the guys from Rad-Tarded Rat from the guys from RadFi. It's sitting at 509,000, so about 500,000. And so yeah, that is the runes update. Let's check out BRC20s. I mean, you have to check BRC20s out as well, because they have two tokens that are listed on Binance still, and Sats as well as Ordi, right? And with this whole BRC 2.0 that's happening right here, we got to check it out. All right, so Ordi is sitting at 79 million, so about $80 million market cap here. Let me actually just, it won't let me do that. Let's see, where's Sats at? Sats is sitting at 38.85 million. Man, Ordi was at one point, it was 1.5 billion, and Sats was at like 1.3 billion in 2023. Isn't that crazy? Absolutely crazy. But they're not completely disappeared. So and they're still on Binance. So what does that mean? That means I think there's an opportunity. You see Track sitting here at 1.59 million. That's so crazy that the Pups BRC20 is sitting at 2.65 million. What else? Do we have anything? Zbit, 543,000. OXBT, 563,000. Man, I'm surprised this is even 563,000. Jeez, Pizza sitting here at 831,000, right? So, I mean, there's some tokens still in here that at least they're not zero. I'll say that. Right. So are these going to eventually have any type of rally back? I mean, sitting at 80 million here is still $80 million. Right. And there's volume that's being done with Ordi on centralized exchanges. Right. So you got to imagine that, there's going to be a day when the Bitcoin ecosystem starts to bounce back. And I wouldn't be shocked if, some of these BRC20s does well. And of course, the runes, I think that they're going to have their day as well. But yeah, that pretty much wraps it up, guys. That is where we are with the Bitcoin ecosystem. If you are a Bitcoin ecosystem person, hang in there. I do think that the Ordinals, collectability is going to be strong one day. You still have rare sats. You still have, these early inscriptions. There's a lot of metas that can happen. But, obviously right now is not the easiest time to be in a lot of these tokens, because the market's not great right now, right? So, but until tomorrow, peace.